How you doing? Yeah, back down the beach. Gonna have a little go. Lovely evening. It's gonna be low tide predominantly, so I'm gonna have a rod out for dabs tonight. Got some black lug. I'm gonna have one out for rays as well with my sand eel and squid wrap. Still got the thermals on because it's still chilly at night time. Even though it's getting warmer, if the sky clears tonight and the stars come out, it could drop chilly. So I'm still going to stick everything on. Got the thermals on, salopettes, all that sort of thing, thick socks. Yeah, last thing I want to do down there is get cold. If I get cold, and then I don't want to fish. So we stay warm at all times. And my philosophy is, if I've got too many layers on and I get too hot, at least I can take bits off. How do I look? Well, I'm going to get this lot unloaded, make my way down to the beach, and I'll see you down there. So as you can see, we're back down the beach. Looking forward to this little session, little spur of the moment session again. Just tides are all wrong, you see. So I wasn't going to entertain it, but in it to win it, and all that, as we always say. In it to win it, decided to come down and have a go fishing probably the last half an hour of it going down. Low tide, and then a couple of hours back up again. I think that's the plan. And it's nice and calm, and it's fairly low. So I think the idea, I've got a little dog barking at me. I think the idea is going to be to have a go for dabs, at least on one rod. Got a dab rod out. Can't hurt. I've got some black lug with me. I've got my sand eels and my squid and my blueies as well. So I think I'm going to put one rod out for rays and one rod out for dabs. That's the plan. So just sorting out a few bits now. I've got a little side tray today, so I'm going to put my tools and everything in there. Do you know what? We are starting to get organised around here. I've got little bags for everything. It's just organised. I'm not usually this organised, but today, on this session, I'm fairly organised. I'm quite happy about it. Right, what we're going to go for leads wise, we're going to want a lot. It's not going to be a lot of tide. I think I'm going to start off with a 4-ounce gripper on the ray rod, because I want that to stay put. 5-ounce gripper on the ray rod, a yellow bad boy, and I think I'm going to go for a little yellow rolling lead for the dabs. So I'm going to try tonight, for the first time, one of these Bagnall bars. Never tried them before, but I've looked into them and they look pretty cool. I've watched Tom's video, I've been in touch with Tom, I've ordered some bars, worked out what to do with them, and I think I've got a good idea. what to do. So what I've got, let me just put my eyes on so I can see. Getting old. What I've got my little 3-hook scratching rig there. Now that's going to be on an earth, so that's going to be like a little mini trave, and I'm going to have a long flowing 8-foot trace coming off of that with 3 hooks on it. So they're all, yeah, that's good. That's new. And then in here I've got my earths. That's my little earths. So I made some of them up today. Box is looking organised. I like it. Now this one is really short, and that's because that's the little bit that goes on the end of that's the little panel section that goes on the bagnall bar. And then what we do is we have a lead on there, 5-ounce gripper, and then we have our pulley rig in there, and then our little cascade swivel goes in that swivel there, which we can adjust by sliding that little pink bit. I like it, I love it. And then we've got our little pulley rig all clipped down on the bagnall bar there, and all I've got to do is attach a loop of line from the top of the cascade swivel to this swivel, and then we're laughing. And you can make that as long or as short as you want. I love the concept of it, so we're going to give that a go tonight. So that's the first one baited and ready to go out, and that looks a little bit like that. So we've got a 3-0. Hopefully that'll focus. We've got a 3-0 and then a 2-0 circle hook on the top. It's a single sand deal with strip squid. So I'm going to put that out there, and that's destined to catch a dogfish, but I hope not. But probably will. It's nothing new. It's nothing new. I'll just mould behind the scene. So that's wicked. It's a tiny little clip down rig there on the bar with this big loop of line. It's like a pumpy loop rig, but the big fish. Let's get it out. The only trouble with walking all the way down there to cast and then walking it all the way back up the beach is that we don't leave much line left on our reels. So that's it, rods are out. Just had a bloke and a woman walking along with 2 big staffies and 2 little baby staffies. And the big staffies come over and started sniffing around just as I'm baiting up the first rigs and everything. Absolute nightmare. Luckily I managed to keep everything safe, but don't need it. But it's starting to get dusky now, so hopefully after dark there'll be less people down there. I don't like people when I'm fishing. Now it's not that, less people there is, there are less dogs and things like that, the less chance of something going wrong. But the tide's gone out such a long way, because it's such a big tide, obviously it goes out further and it's exposed quite a lot of sand. It gives you a good idea of how far you've got to cast to be onto the sand when the tide's up. It's probably about 40 yards. That's why a little short chuck can really work well sometimes, just on the edge of where the sand meets the shingle. But yeah, I'm fishing, I don't even think it's low tide yet. I think it was low tide at 6:40, and the time now is 6:27. So it's nearly low tide. Nearly low tide, so we're going to be fishing the low. Oh, they're coming back the other way now. Oh, seriously. should have them on leads, especially two dogs like that. No muzzles, no nothing. And there's other people walking along with dogs, and they're likely to get dread the thing. Anyway, we'll stop banging on about that. Got the rods out. Starting to get dusky. Going to fish the low water, and then back up for a couple of hours, I think. And I think we'll be okay. And relax. After a day's work, it's lovely getting down here. Gentle breeze tonight. Needed the shelter up just to keep it off my neck. But it's probably about 10 to 15 mile an hour at the moment, that's how it feels. Rods are pretty still, then again I've only just put them out. Surprised how far that's gone out. Last couple of times I've been fishing, I've just been traipsing backwards and forwards. Dogfish. Walk it back, unhook it, go down, cast, bring it back, go back down, dogfish, bring it back, unhook it. It's just been relentless. And I'm hoping, because I've got a scratching rig out, as it were. It's not a flapper, it's a long trailing rig, about 8 foot behind the lead, on a little earth rig with 3 size 4s on and a little bit of lugworm and squid on each one. I'm going to try and catch me a dab. I've got my tape measure so I can measure anything we catch. But a dab is the target. A ray would be a lovely bonus. I'm not fishing for rays anymore. I'm just fishing generally for dogfish, and if we catch a ray then that's brilliant. But I've been heartbroken every time I've gone home without a ray, so I'm not doing it to myself anymore. But I have got a rod out there with sandeel and squid on. But it is absolutely gorgeous, I love it. It's not dark yet, but it's not going to be long, and it's about 7:15. So the days are definitely getting longer. And I think the clocks do something soon, don't they? I believe they do this month. So it's 7 o'clock now and it's properly dark, and then rods have been out there for half an hour. So I'm going to wind them in now and just freshen up the baits. The scratching rod, I have had a couple of little knocks on that, just a couple of little movements. Every now and again, perhaps every sort of 5 minutes, I'm giving it 2 or 3 turns of the handle just to move the bait. And I did notice it just rattling a little bit. There's no wind on the line, the rods are quite still. So I don't think there's any wind, and there's certainly no tide at the moment. The tide's gone out even further from when we first got here. Thankfully I did cast out quite a long way, so I'm still a fair way out into the sea, but now I can freshen up the baits, get back down there and get them out a little bit further. I think I need to be out a little bit further. While the tide's low, it's probably quite shallow out there, I'm guessing. Yeah, let's wind them in, freshen them up and see how we go. Might have guessed, but first chuck, dogfish. And he took the pennel all the way down again. But it's a fish, it beats the blank, and we're off the mark. Things can only get better, hopefully. So I've just wound in the scratching rod, and we've got 2 whiting and an absolutely knackered rig. Cheers, whiting. Much obliged. Wicked. So there you go, second cast to back out now. We've had a dogfish, 2 whiting, and 2 completely knackered rigs. That long flowing trace that I had, it sounded really good, but it's just with that 8 foot flowing behind the lead with 3 hooks down it, then fish are at liberty once they're hooked just to start swimming around each other and tie the whole thing up in knots. And that is exactly what's happened. I'm not going to try unpicking it. What I've done is I've put a flapper on now, a 3 hook flapper, all 3 hooks above the lead, and that's out there on a 5 ounce rolling lead with half a lugworm and a little strip of squid on the end of each one. And the other one's back out, same again with the sand eel, single sand eel and a strip of squid. And if I get another dogfish that takes the hook right down and ruins the rig, I'll probably switch that one over to a dongle. Yeah, what's happened is between the bottom hook, the J hook, and the circle, the line's all chafed up where the dogfish has had his teeth on it. And I don't trust it. If we were to catch a nice 15-pound ungulate or a bass or, you know, something really good, we're probably going to lose it. So I'll put another rig out. And as I say, if that one gets ruined by dogfish, I'll put a dongle. The only thing I've got about a dongle at the moment is a little bit of confidence thing. I had a couple of dogfish on it over hailing the other night, and they were hooked just in the scissors perfectly. Just managed to shake them off and get the rig straight back out again without any trouble. But the one bite that I had, which looked like a ray bite, but the rod tip went over some more, banged a couple of times, and then just carried on going. And I picked the rod up, and as I lifted into it, there was nothing there. And I can't help thinking that because I had a fairly decent sized bait below the hook, he had half the bait in his mouth and not the actual hook. And it's always a bit of a worry when something like that happens. It just puts doubts in your mind, and you can't be fishing with doubts in your mind. It's all about confidence, this game. So like I say, if it happens again and I end up ruining the rig, I'm going to put a pulley out with a dongle on, but maybe just fish a shorter dongle that's easier to get it into. I'm just thinking out loud now. Yeah, I'm just going to sit, chill, watch the rod tips, and I'll bring you back if anything happens. The time now is of faffing around. I had two people walk by and caught my scratching line around their necks, so I had to sort all that out, and then wound in with those two waiting. So I've had to change that rig, change the rig on the other one. So I've been faffing around for a bit, and it's now 7:30. So I was winding them in at 7, and it's taken half an hour to get them both in, sort the rigs out, get them baited up and get them back out again. So not ideal, but with the amount of people down on this beach, not so much now because it's late, but you never know. I don't want to have a rig hanging on the tripod just in case, because if I get a bite on one rod and I've got to run down and do battle with the fish, and I've got another rig hanging up here with a bait on it and a hook in it, and someone with a dog or a fox comes along, and it's just not worth it. So yeah, 7:30, so I'm going to give them until 8 o'clock and see how we go. So the second casts have come in now, and I had a single whiting on the flapper, bottom hook, and nothing on the sand eel rod. So they're back out again now, and the tide, I probably had about 10 metres of sand from the edge of the shingle to the water's edge, and the sand's covered now, so it's coming in fairly quickly, and the tide's starting to run from right to left, because that flapper rod that I've put out with just the plain lead on is rolling around to the left now, and it's bouncing a little bit. So I've got half a feeling there's a whiting on there again, but I've got 3 hooks spaced apart above the lead, so they can't come into contact with each other. Well, they shouldn't, so I can afford to leave that out there and see if I can pick up something on the other hooks. So I'll leave that one out there for a bit longer. I have got a dongle rig made up, ready to go out, so I'm going to give this one 20 minutes. When I wound it in, the bait looked really good. I smelt it and it still smelt good, so while I was down by the water's edge, rather than come back up here, change the bait just for the sake of it, I just clipped it back in and put it back out, because it wasn't out there all that long, to be fair. It's probably out there about 15 or 20 minutes, so we'll see. But yeah, gorgeous down here. There's hardly any wind. They forecasted a little bit, you know, sort of like 10 miles an hour I think, but it doesn't even feel like that. It's absolutely glorious. There's another angler just to my left down there, probably about 150 yards, and that's the only angler I can see down there. I think because it's low tide, it's a funny old time, so I don't think you'll get many down here. So we've practically got the beach to ourselves. A dab. That's what we want. So just wound the flapper in and more whiting. I think we've got to wade through these if we're going to catch a dab. It's a tall order, but we're going to keep going. We're going to keep persevering. As my old mate Wayne would say, gosh darn it, we need some dabs, man. Conger flat bass. Here. We've got the hooks all the way down again. So I'm going to put dongle out now. So it's 20 to 9. I've had a couple more casts with the flapper rod and a couple more whiting that I've just unhooked down by the water's edge and slipped back in again. But I've literally just cast that one back out again. I've gone up tide now with a gripper on because it was rolling down a bit too quickly. Tide's picked up a bit now. As soon as I got back and put it in the rod rest and just tightened up the line, it started knocking straight away. So then whiting are pretty ravenous tonight. So whiting and dogs. That's all it seems to be lately. But I'm trying to put the hours in, I'm trying to make the effort, I'm trying to be here as much as I can. I'm trying to maximise my chances. I'm only so many hours away from my next ray. I'm only so many hours away from my next dab, and if I keep clocking away those hours, it's going to happen eventually, right? That's the theory. That left hand rod now has got a dongle on, and it's got a bluey and squid wrap, and a 4.0 circle look in the top of it. So fingers crossed for something half decent. But I think we all know what's going to happen if we do get a fish on it. No, we need to remain positive. Guys, I've only gone and done it. Spotted ray. Yes! Well chuffed. Just turn that on for a second. Come on, don't fold up. Come on. That is awesome. Circle hook. Just in his mouth. Get that out of the way. And there he is. One spotted ray. Ah, don't fold up on me. We've done it! Yeah! I am so happy right now. Yes! I've never caught a spotted ray before. So not only have we caught a ray after all these sessions trying to catch a ray, today I took the focus off and put run rod out for dabs and said it's a dab session, but I still had a ray rod out. I was watching the rods and it bounced twice and then flicked back and the line started going slack. I thought, don't be a dogfish, it's just pulled hard and tripped the lead. I wound into it and straight away the rod went over a little bit more and just started nodding a little bit while I was winding in. I had a feeling, I didn't want to tempt fate, but I had a feeling on the way in. And then, oh, there it was. So chuffed. It just went back lovely as well. I sort of sat down on the sand there for a few seconds, flapped a little bit, and then turned around and off we went. Fantastic. I'm going to get that rod baited back up and get it back out. Yes. But it doesn't appear that there's many dabs out there, does it? Not if we're getting 3 at a time. Pain in the ass. So the whiting are relentless. These rods have been out there for about 20 minutes now. The right hand rod with the flapper on's been jingling away for a while. Got a feeling that one's full up. So it's going to take some doing for a dab to get past the whiting and onto the hook bait. I am actually ray fishing, but it would be nice to see a dab, and that's why I'm persevering with that rod. Even though we're getting loads of whiting, I'm persevering because I'd love to catch a dab. I'm still buzzing from that ray. That's amazing. I need to get that rod back in again in a minute as well and just freshen up the hook bait on that, get another bit of bluey out. I'm not staying too late tonight because I have got work tomorrow. It's 20 to 10 now. I'm made up. The session's been made. So I'm probably going to wind these in, freshen up the hook baits, put them back out, and probably make that the last cast. But by the time I pack away, get back to the car, drive home, sort all the gear out, I don't want it to be too close to midnight getting settled down, because I've got to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I did this on Monday night and had work on Tuesday morning, and I was shattered all day. So yeah, I'm going to wind these in now, freshen them up, and do the do. So I just wound the flapper in, one whiting, two whiting, and baby Smoothhound. How cool is that? I'm really happy with that. Caught one of these a couple of weeks ago. What a fantastic little fish that is. Little size 4 just in his mouth. Lugworm tipped off with a little bit of squid. Oh, baby Smoothhound. Gorgeous. Gonna go and get these back. So I just wound the dongle in, and we've got a doggy. Quite a big doggy, quite a wiry doggy, but it's a doggy. So gonna get this back, bait that dongle up one more time, and have one last cast. So I'm just starting to wipe things down. It's a bit damp tonight. There's a bit of a mist in the air. Looking up at the moon, it's like a little bit of a crescent moon. And it's really hazy at the moment, so there's obviously a load of sort of cloud cover. Because it's really mild, it's really warm. I have got my thermals on underneath here, but in no way, shape or form am I cold. So it's been a really pleasant evening. Caught loads of fish. Spur of the moment trip, just decided today that I was going to go tonight. I always tend to be the better trips, you know. Yeah, everything's damp, everything's got a little layer of moistness on it. So I'm going to start even the inside of the tent as well. I might have to get that out during the day and give it a dry out in the garden. I don't want it going mouldy and rotten. But yeah, it's going to give everything a little wipe down, just start putting things away, because these two casts that are out there now are going to be the last ones. And we're a bit later than I said I was going to be. It's 7:10 now, nearly, so I'll probably get them till about 10:30, maybe 20 to 11. And then by the time I wind them in and pack everything away, I can be away from the beach at 11, and then home by about 11:20, and then have a cup of coffee and then sort the stuff out, and I should be in bed by midnight, which is okay. I'm happy with midnight. But we've got our bluey and squid wrap out there on the dongle, and fingers crossed a dogfish doesn't snaffle it, because there's rays about. I know over Hayling there's 1 or 2 ungulates being caught, and I know all the way along here there's definitely thornbacks being caught, and now we know that there's spotted rays here as well. So there's 3 different species of rays to go for, but we don't want them rays with no wings, them dogfish rays. They can do one. So that's a massive tangle. Last one on the flapper I've just wound in, and we've managed to get a whiting and a dog, and they're all wrapped up next to each other. So yeah, I'll sort that out now. Definitely something on the big rod. I'm going to wind that in first and then sort this out, I think. So there you go, that's the end of the session. Just had a couple of little practice casts just to get the line out straight and get it wound onto the reels properly. And that's it. Yeah, fantastic session. What a session that was. Loads of whiting. Didn't get the dab holes after, but there's always next time. We had a good go, but we did get that ray, and we had a little smoothhound pup as well as the usual dogfish. So yeah, good session all in all. We caught fish. We had a lovely time down here. It was really mild. The wind's just dropped off to absolutely nothing. Conditions are absolutely perfect. I think next couple of hours would probably fish well, but as I said, I've got work in the morning and I've got to get back, and it is getting on a bit. So I'm going to get this lot packed away, get back to the car and get off home. Thanks so much for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one, guys. Take care, tight lines.